Greetings, Authenticators. Welcome back to Disenthrall. I will once again be Patrick Smith. This will be part 2 of our new digital hygiene series focused on passwords. We're going to be talking about how to be an adult with passwords. Again, this is part 2. Now, I want to, number one, make this video as quick as I possibly can. You'll have to forgive me. I seem to be having a cold right now, so I'm going to try and keep the sniffles to a minimum, but we need to get this video done, and so we're going to do it. Like I talked about this morning in our morning think time, we're going to have the farmer's work ethic today, and we're going to pretend that this work cannot wait, because it actually can't. I gotta get it done because I got other stuff to do. Okay, anyway, so here we go. I'm going to begin by telling you that I think the first video was a bad strategy. The flow, the plan that I had for you guys was not optimal. I had the idea of starting with that intro video and then moving straight to two-factor authentication, because to my brain that already knows how this stuff works, that's a logical progression that I would prepare you with before showing you the password managers. But and because I didn't expect some of you that watched video 1 to wait until video 4 to get into password or to get into two-factor authentication. But then I realized that it really belongs later after I show you the password managers. That's sort of like the level up from password managers. And so I'm just gonna have to trust you guys that you are adults, and if you're watching the second video, you're probably an adult and you're probably gonna take this seriously. But know that you need to watch this series all the way through, because the two-factor stuff does not add much complexity, but adds a significant amount of privacy and security, and everybody really needs to do it at this point in time. So that's the change in the flow. The second change in the flow is that I have decided to eliminate the LastPass password manager from this video series. They have recently made some changes to their pricing. I know I've told you guys to not do the free account on either BitWarden or LastPass, but recently they made some changes to their free one that only lets you use it on one device, and you can't sync your passwords between devices. That is well, not the whole, but that's like the one of the main reasons to use a password manager, is so that you have all your passwords synced between everywhere you might use your password. LastPass was bought by LogMeIn a while back and has been making some seriously questionable business decisions lately. So, and also because LastPass really doesn't bring anything to the table that BitWarden doesn't, and BitWarden is way cheaper, we're going to reduce the complexity of this video by getting rid of LastPass. So what that means is that the series will probably be one video shorter. It'll probably be this one and the next one, and then we'll pretty much be done. Another reminder, if you're watching this in the future, make sure right now, because you might be watching an old version of this video, look down in the description and the pinned comments to see if there's an updated version of this video that you should be watching instead. Or maybe like a part 2 of this part 2, something like that. Just check, just in case I updated it or got something wrong or something like that for you. Okay. And the next thing I needed to do was answer some questions from the comments on the last video, some things that I actually missed and that I should have included in the last video. The first question was, why can't the password manager be hacked? Well, it can. And if the password manager is hacked, then whoever hacked it gets access to all your passwords. However, if you don't use a password manager, you pretty much have a couple choices, right? You can remember several hundred character long random strings of text to be just as secure as the password manager, which we know is impossible. Or you can use duplicate passwords on multiple websites, and if anybody hacks those websites, or if the website leaks, like happens all the time, and like happens because in the last video you checked that website haveibeenpwned.com, you know that it has happened. Probably I would be willing to bet to you as well. So it's kind of an equal threat that we're talking about. In fact, it was probably far less likely that your password manager file is going to be hacked than these websites, because that's already happened, and how many of you have had your personal computers breached and had everybody download everything on your computer and have the resources we talked about last time to decrypt your password file from your password manager? Probably a safer bet to use a password manager than either any of the alternatives. The other question was for something like Bitwarden or LastPass. Can't the online ones be hacked? Or perhaps I should say, why is it any better considering that they can be hacked? Excellent question, because I did spend part of the last video talking about how the online services that you trust are often lazy and don't devote enough budget to the security that you need them to have to trust with your passwords and private information. Very true. On the other hand, the companies LastPass and Bitwarden are not among the set of companies that are lazy about security. In fact, they are some of the most paranoid about security on the internet because that is their line of business. And anytime there's any kind of leak or crack or vulnerability in anything that they do, it makes headlines across the tech sphere, and that directly threatens their entire business model, and they fix it immediately. If we hear that LastPass gets hacked all the time, then we're going to stop recommending that people use LastPass, for example. So they're going to be paying the most attention to their security. Also, both of these services, Bitwarden and LastPass, both... Excuse me. Oh, man. This is going to be tough. Both of these services encrypt and open source the cryptography portion so other people can look at it to make sure it's not bad. All of the cryptography happens in your browser before your passwords leave your computer. So the only thing LastPass and Bitwarden get a copy of, I know this is a little bit nerdy, is an encrypted version of your information. So even if they get hacked, the most the attacker would be able to get is an encrypted version of your stuff that would not really do them very much good unless you had like a really weak password or something for your Bitwarden or LastPass account. The last thing I didn't talk about last time was the reasons why the threat modeling levels were important to discuss. Virtual machines are having trouble. The reason why it's important is because, and I didn't mention how to use the levels, right? Because each of the levels of threats can be assigned individually to the things that you want to protect. So, for example, if you talk to people on a knitting website, on an anonymous account, and you have conversations about knitting, well, that's probably a low priority on your list of things to be worried about having secure, especially if there's no credit card information or anything like that attached to the account. So the cost of being vulnerable in that way might be lower. Now, I'm not recommending this, but it bears mentioning that if you wanted to, you could use a password that you kept in your head that was super simple and forget about a password manager for that website. As you'll see later, there's really no need for that. But I'm just saying, part of your threat model should be that kind of cost analysis on a per service basis. On the other hand, let's say you have a Bitcoin wallet, and you're keeping the recovery key and the password to decrypt your Bitcoin wallet somewhere. Where should you keep it? Well, probably not on the computer, just in a text file. That would be the worst thing you could do. Although, if it's a $20 Bitcoin wallet that you use for just random, buying coffee, not that you can do that anymore with Bitcoin, but you might not be cared. You might not care about it. It might be, something that you can keep the information in your password manager, because your password managers are like little mini databases, and you can add just note entries where you can just add whatever information you want. It doesn't always have to be usernames and passwords. You could add your Bitcoin wallet recovery key and decryption password in there if you want it. That might be one of the more secure places you'd want to keep it. However, if you are a Bitcoin billionaire, you probably want to go far above and beyond. You want to imagine the most secure you can possibly make that recovery key and password that you can imagine. You'll probably want to hire somebody to give you the best, most secure method of storing that information. That would be a use case in which you would probably want to go way above and beyond a password manager. In fact, you might not even want to use a password manager to store that information. You'll probably have something better. So that is just to illustrate the point of the reason why it's important to do the threat modeling. Because not only do you want to enumerate your threats, but you also need to enumerate the things you want to protect and how much you want to protect those. Now, 95% of everything you interact with online will probably fall in the threat model, the cost benefit of a password manager. Like everything from, decently sized Bitcoin wallets with, maybe a few thousand. It's up to you how secure you want to be with that. You could put that information in there, or all the way down to your knitting website, just because it's convenient to have everything in a password manager instead of using the meat space in your skull. And then only the super, super important stuff you might want to try and remember a long customized password yourself rather than a password manager. Although password managers are really good at that, so you might consider it. Okay, we are done with the introductions. We are going to, so this video is going to be Bitwarden. Next video is going to be KeyPass and maybe two-factor. We might do two-factor authentication in the following video. But please make a commitment to watch the series all the way through. Even if you think Bitwarden is good enough for you and you don't want to move on to KeyPass and kind of level up in that way, at least loop back around for the two-factor video because you need it. No matter if you're using Bitwarden or KeyPass, you need two-factor in some methods, and you're going to want to know how to use it anyway. Okay, so let's get started. I have I have a virtual computer, and I also have a virtual phone. Let's see if I can wake it up here. Okay, so I have my two virtual machines. I have the virtual phone. This is like an Android, but the screen's bigger. That's the only thing. It's exactly like most of your Android phones. And this is an actual Windows computer that I can use to walk you through this stuff. We are going to begin by installing Bitwarden into our browser. Bitwarden serves as a browser extension. The browser we're going to be using today is Brave, which is my recommended browser. It's a Chrome-based browser, so anything that works on Chrome will likely work on Brave as well. We want to begin by going to bitwarden.com. And let me move this over. I have to remember to come over here and touch this every once in a while so that it doesn't go to sleep. Super pain in the ass. Okay. Don't let me forget to touch the phone so it doesn't go to sleep. Okay, so we're going to get started. Top right corner is a get started link on Bitwarden. They're going to want us to create an account first, which is what we're going to do now. I have a sort of fake email address that we're going to be using for all of our learning today. googispoop@gmail.com. Poop. Goog. And then master password time. This, from now on, should be the only password that you have to remember. That means that you should definitely not use anything less than 25 or 30 characters. What? Oh my god, 25 or 30 characters? How am I ever going to remember that? You only have to remember one thing. And you're going to type it in at least once a day when you're accessing your password, so it's going to constantly be fresh in your mind. It's not going to be that difficult. It doesn't need to be a random string of characters. It just needs to be long. My suggestion is that you use a string of words. It could even be a sentence. It could be like, boy, howdy, Google is the worst company in the world. That could be your password. We call those pass phrases. Another one could be, my son really loves chocolate cake on his birthday. That could be your passphrase. And that could be the thing that you use to secure your wallet. I think that's a good place to leave this video. I don't mean end the video, but I mean for the viewers of this video, if you do a passphrase like that, that's lengthy. It's a good several words, then you're probably pretty good. And it's even going to give you sort of a password strength report as you go. So and I'm just going to write this down in my notes so that I don't forget it later. My password is going to be boy howdy, and I'm putting spaces between these just because I want to. Boy howdy, Google is the worst company in the world. Okay, that's in my notes now, so I won't forget it. Boy howdy, Google is the worst company in the world. Now you'll see, as I typed that, it told us that we went from a weak password to a strong. Now we have a green, we have a really strong password. Now we're going to type it in again. Boy, howdy, Google is the worst company in the world. I hope I typed that right. I guess we'll find out. Master password hint, this is up to you. This is if like you ever forget, which you should never do. You might even want to, like, if you have a secure place or a safe in your house, you might even want to write this down on a piece of paper and put it in there. But if you want to have a hint, you can type whatever it is in here and it will hopefully remind you. Don't type any of the words that are in your password in the password hint, obviously. We're not going to use that. So then we're going to check the box to say that we agree to their terms of service and privacy policy. We're going to click next. Now, most browsers have a built-in password manager, and this is a great opportunity to point that out to you. You've probably all seen this before, where it says save password, and it gives the username and password, save, and a never. Most browsers have this. Don't use them. Do not use them. They are not secure. Anytime your browser you can even go into the settings on your browser and turn off it asking to remember your passwords for you. Don't do it. Not worth it. We have password managers for that take your security and privacy seriously. Also, you don't want to trust a company you don't want to trust a company that's in the browser business to do a good job at the password security business. We want a company that is specifically focused on password security to manage it for us. So I'm going to click never. And in fact, if this is my actual computer, I have that turned off. It doesn't even ask me anymore. I only use my password manager. Okay, so here we are. We are at the BitWarden login. We have our email address, googleispoop@gmail.com. Now we'll enter our master password to get in. Boy, howdy. I'm going to have fun saying this over and over. Google is the worst company in the world. And we're going to log in. And see, it's asking me again. No, leave me alone. Never. Okay. Here we are. This is your vault. Now, let's talk about what password managers do for a moment. From a really high level that anybody can understand. I'm sure some of you watching this video, and yes, this is a little bit of shaming if you are one of these people. If you do try and keep different passwords for different stuff, I mean, good on you. I mean, that's better than what a lot of people do, where they use the same password for everything. But if you're one of the people that keep your passwords in a text document or a Word document on your desktop, stop that. For the love of God, stop that. But we can think about a vault, a password manager's vault, as a file that has a bunch of passwords written in it. Kind of like a Word document. It's much more intelligent and much easier to use than a Word document. But we can kind of think about it like that. When we are looking at our vault in the browser, like we are now, let me make sure and keep this awake. Stay awake. What has happened is that BitWarden, the company's servers, have sent an encrypted file to your browser, to your computer and inside your browser. And your browser has used your master password to decrypt that file. Actually, it would have actually worked the other way around. The very first time the browser creates the file, encrypts it with your master password, that should never get actually sent to BitWarden. They should never actually see it. They'll only see it in encrypted form. Your browser uses that. Am I getting too complicated? I don't think so. Your browser creates a file, a database file. Like I think of it as the Word document that you have on your desktop, God forbid, with your passwords in it. Your browser creates that file and then encrypts it with your master password. And then sends that encrypted file to BitWarden servers for the purposes of backup. So you don't have to worry about, making sure you don't lose the file. And for syncing. Those are the two main features that Bitwarden and these password managers give you is syncing, which means that later when we install Bitwarden on our phone or on our 5 other computers, it will get a copy of that encrypted password file. Then we enter our master password and it decrypts that file locally, inside the browser or inside of our phone. Like Bitwarden doesn't do the decrypting for us. Bitwarden cannot see your passwords. That's the whole point of, a service like this, is that it's called zero knowledge encryption, meaning the company, even if they wanted to, even if the government pointed their guns at them and said, we demand that you decrypt Patrick's or Goog's Poop's passwords for us, they would be like, we can't. It's called cryptography, you idiots. They do not have the ability. That's the whole point. All of the decrypting and being able to see stuff happens in your phone or in your browser. And that's awesome. And it syncs the encrypted file for you, so you can have it on all of your devices. So in a way, this is not only, it does bring some extra complexity into logging into stuff, but it also brings a lot of convenience. Like, now you'll never even have to, if you use this, you will rarely have to actually type in a password on your browser or on your phone, because it will handle it for you. So we're logged in now. It wants us to verify our account's email address to unlock access to all features. I have created this fake email address over here. We are going to click send email. We are going to, I have a different window open here. You can see they sent us a hello email. Welcome to BitWarden. Install it, blah, blah, blah. We're going to chill. We're going to click here. So we're going to open the second email they sent us called verify your email. We're going to click verify email address now. And it wants us to, it says your email address has been verified. So we're going to get rid of that again and talk about what we're looking at. So we're looking at the web version of our vault, which is just a fancy way of saying our database of passwords that's encrypted for us. Normally, if we had items, they would be listed here. If we had passwords in here, we would be looking at them right now. Password managers can also store not only logins, but they can store your credit cards for you. So you can enter your credit card information, names, CCV number, expiration date, and it will automatically fill that information in. Normally, the browser will offer to do that for you, but again, it's storing this information not exactly in the securest way. Whereas if you keep your credit card information in your password manager, it's much better. You can also store ID cards, and you can also create secure notes, which is exactly what it means. It means you just create a little database entry, and instead of that entry being a username and password, it can just be whatever you type in there, whatever you paste in there, your Bitcoin recovery passphrase or whatever. You can also create folders if you want to get organized and have your passwords all organized. I don't even think you have to really go to that much of a pain in the butt, because it's going to do most of the work for you. We're not even going to click add item here. We're not going to sit here and start trying to think of all the websites we use and click add item and start entering everything in manually here. No. It's much easier than that. What we're going to do is install the browser extension. Now let me find it. Okay, so you click in the top right, you click the little icon in the top right where it says logged in as poopgoog, and we're going to scroll down to get the apps. And this is going to take us to where we can get the apps. Now, we have some choices. There's actually a program you can install on your desktop computer that will do the syncing for you. That is an option. You also have web browser plugins, and this is what I'm going to suggest that you use to begin with. So we're going to come down to the web browser section, and in this case, we're using the Brave web browser. And again, let me wiggle this so it doesn't go to sleep. There we go. And again, we can also find the mobile apps here if we're surfing this web page from our mobile device. So I'm going to click Brave, and we're going to go about installing the Bitwarden password manager from the Chrome Web Store. Even though this is the Brave browser, it still uses the Chrome Web Store. All we do is we click Add to Brave. It pops up a window saying, are you sure you want to do this? It can read and modify stuff on websites. Yeah, we want it to. We want it to be able to stick our passwords into websites for us. So we're going to click the Add Extension button. In a moment, we will see a new extension appear in the top right. Boom! There it is. And now it says, congratulations! And it gives us a video with a quick start guide that you can watch if you want, or you can just keep watching this video. So we can close this, and we can even close this Bitwarden website. So now we're just kind of at the default empty blank page for Brave. Now, in the top right, it has an extensions button. This is where all the little extensions that you might have multiple extensions installed, and they'll probably all be hiding behind this button unless you have pinned them, which you can choose to do if you want. And I'm going to show you how to do that now. If you pin them, that means their icon is always visible in the top right corner of your browser. This is one you're going to use all the time, so it's worth pinning. The way you do that is with this little pin button right here. We're going to click that, and now you can see that the little Bitwarden icon has popped out right here, and it's always there. So from now on, when you go to websites, it's going to be watching to see which website you go to, and it's going to be offering to remember your passwords and to enter your passwords for you. So again, we haven't had to enter any passwords at all yet, because this extension is going to help us do that. So we're going to click the Bitwarden icon up here, and it's going to ask us to log in. So we're going to do that. The email address is, I keep forgetting. Oh, right there. googispoop@gmail.com. And our master password. Boy, howdy. Google is the worst company in the world. Enter. Boom. Now, the extension has downloaded our encrypted vault from Bitwarden, decrypted it for us, and is showing us our vault. It's as if we had gone to their website. But we should never have to go to their website again, unless we want to pay for their service to get two-factor authentication, which we'll cover later. But right now we're using the free version of Bitwarden. Please stick around for the last video where we talk about two-factor because you need it. So now we have our folders, we have our vault. We can actually do some stuff like sending passwords. We have a password generator, which can be useful, and we'll get into that. And we have settings. Let's see if there's anything special about our settings really quickly that I want to show you. You can pick how long until it locks the vault again. So we've logged in and we've entered our master password and it's decrypted the vault. But you know, if you're one of the people that leaves their computer on all the time and you get up and you walk away, you don't want to leave your vault unlocked and walk away from your computer. You want it to automatically lock. And if you're not going to manually lock it, for example, if I wanted to manually lock it, there's a lock now option here, which will basically undecrypt it. And if we want to use a password, if we want to use it again, we'll have to re-enter our master password. So if you're going to walk away, you should do that. And in case you forget, you can have the Vault Timeout option set to lock. And you can set how you want to unlock it. So you can choose with a PIN, which you'll have to enter. You should make it long, because this is just another vulnerability. Or you can actually go back and select log out to where you actually need to enter your master password again. This is a good option. If I were you, I would pick log out and just enter the master password when I need to use it again. This is where we'll set up two-factor authentication. But you really need to have their lowest level paid account, which is like $10 a year, to use your YubiKey, and we'll get into that in the future video. This is what the premium membership option here is here, $10 a year, and you get everything that you definitely need. Dude, password managers, and literally $10 a year. It is basic adulting. You need to use a password manager that you pay for, and you need to use a password manager, and if you're going to use Bitwarden, you have to pay for it. If you stick around for KeyPass, you will not have to pay for it. And you need to purchase two-factor authentication devices, and I'm going to keep repeating that until you believe me and do it. Okay, so is there anything else here? Don't use fingerprints. We've already talked about that, though I didn't talk about why not to use biometric authentication on your phones, and somebody mentioned that to me, so I will tell you now. Biometrics, fingerprints, facial recognition, all of that can be subpoenaed. So if you're ever arrested by anybody from the FBI down to, you know, some jerk-ass cop from your hometown, and they want to get nosy and get into your phone, and this is whether or not you're a good guy, bad guy, I don't care. Everybody should care about their privacy, even if they've done nothing wrong. You need to care about this stuff. They can subpoena your fingerprints. A judge can write on a magic piece of paper that somehow gives him the authority to cage you, unless and until you do the fingerprint to unlock your phone for them. And then once you do that, they can, access anything on your phone. If you don't use biometrics, they can't subpoena that. The most they could subpoena, they cannot demand, they cannot force you to give you the contents of your mind, meaning password. In most places, I can't speak for everywhere in the world, but it's a lot more difficult for the government to force you or use force on you unless you use your password. And even then, it's nothing they can actually force you to do. The worst they can do is put you in a cage for, contempt of court or disobeying a judge or whatever. And the punishment for that, depending on what you have on your phone, the punishment for refusing to give your fingerprint might be less bad than whatever evidence. Anyway, you get the idea. It's basic privacy. You need to care about your privacy. Don't use biometrics because it can be subpoenaed. And this can use biometrics too. Bit Warden on your phone can use biometrics too. Don't do it. Same reason. If you've used another password manager, you can import them. If you're switching from this password manager to another one, you can export your vault. Bit Warden allows you to share your vault or part of your vault. You can actually, like if you have, let's say your wife or whatever, and you guys share an Amazon account, you can have your Amazon password stored here and then share it to her so she can log into the same Amazon account. And then they manage the sharing for you. That's kind of handy. I'm not sure on the security of it. You really have to trust people. But yeah. Okay. So that's really it. So what does it do? Well, let's go through it. I'm going to come up with a website. We're going to go to github.com. This is going to be the website we're going to use for sort of training on all of this stuff. Now, I don't have a GitHub account, so we're going to go ahead and sign up. And this is going to be kind of the same thing for many websites. We're going to do a username. What are we? We are Goog is poop. And our email address is googispoop@gmail.com. Now, here's our password. Here's the part where this little thing comes in big handy. We're going to come up here and we're going to click on generator and we're going to crank this up. Now, most websites will have some kind of limit, and sometimes the limit on websites is dumb. Like some websites literally have like a 16-character password limit. You should always be careful. Don't give them any private information that you wouldn't want getting out anywhere. That is a red flag for one of the lazy companies I was talking about before. You should really crank this up. So they want at least 15 characters. Well, look, we don't have to remember it. So I'm going to give them 100 characters. And not only that, we're going to come down here and make sure all these boxes are checked. I want capital letters. I want lowercase letters. I want numbers. I want funky symbols. Yeah. So that's what we're going to do. And then we're going to just click this button right here. Copy password. We're going to come down here. We're going to paste that long ass password in there. Ah, see, this is one of those websites. This irritates me. Password is too long. Maximum of 72 characters. Okay, fine. So we're going to click back up here. We're going to generate again. We're going to drag this thing down to 70 characters. Whatever. 70, 72, whatever. It doesn't matter. Copy. Now we're going to delete this. We're going to paste in the new one. It's happy with it. And we're going to opt out of their spam. And we're going to verify so that it knows that we're a human. Pick the spiral galaxy. Okay. Oh, pick another spiral galaxy. Okay. That was a new one. I haven't seen that before. We're going to click create account. Now, you see two things just happened. Again, our browser, see this window here, our browser is saying, hey, you want me to save that password for you? Hell no. Brave, go away. Never. Stop asking. But we also see at the top, the Bit Warden extension in the browser has put this line up here at the top. Should Bit Warden remember this password for you? Never for this website, or yes, save now. It watched what you did, watched the email address and the password that you entered. All I have to do is click yes, save now. Let me wake this up again. Don't go to sleep. Thank you. Now, if we click over here and we look at our vault, my vault, we have right here, look, a GitHub login. It has automatically added this item to our vault for us. We literally never have to remember it again. If we need it, or want to look at it or whatever, we can click on it. We can find the information. We can manually copy the password. We can copy the username. We can share it. We can clone it. We can delete it. It's in a database and it's always handy for us. So now, excuse my sniffling. Let me show you what it's like. If we come back to GitHub sometime in the future, on any computer where we have BitWarden installed, we can log into BitWarden through the extension. Click sign in. Because remember, it's syncing the password databases for you as long as you log in with your master password. And now, you see up here, we can click the little BitWarden icon. It even has a number 1 for us, and it detects that we need to log in here. And it says, here's all the logins we have for this web page. And here's another really cool thing about password managers. You might have multiple logins to a single web page. For example, Twitter. I have 6 Twitter accounts. I have like one for Disenthrall, one for Anarchast, one for Not Governor, one for several companies that I own, and it would list them all right here, and we can pick which one we want to log in with. And so in this case, we're just going to click that. Boom. It filled in the username, filled in the password. Now all we do is click sign in. Done. Now GitHub wants us to verify our email address, and I see over here on my email, it says, almost done, Gugus Poop, verify your email address. We're just going to click that. I think we actually have to log in, do we? Please don't have to log in. Okay. I guess we need to log into Gmail over here. So we're going to do that real quick just so we can get all these verifies in. We're going to sign in. It's going to be googispoop@gmail.com, and it's going to be, I really hate Google. Nice. Now it's probably going to want to do some kind of verification. No, again, look what happened. So, no, browser, I don't want you to remember my password. No, I don't want you to give me notifications. So, now we have our email logged in here. Now we can click the link to verify the email address. I don't need to teach you how to click links in emails. You know how to do that. So now we're done. And now we can get on to github.com. Okay, so now we're logged in. We're done with this email. In fact, we're done with all of these emails. Whatever. Okay, thank you. Done. All right. So that is the basics of how to use the BitWarden extension. You simply log into websites, and it will watch what you're doing, and oftentimes capture the login for you. If it knows the login, you can click the little button and tell it to automatically populate your username and password for you. That is a huge part of the convenience of using a password manager. Okay, so now let's do the same thing on your phone. So now we have BitWarden set up. We have a BitWarden account, and we've got a password in our little vault. Hooray, awesome. Is there something else we should do? It didn't actually trap the login from Google because it went too far past the login, so we can actually manually add that. Let me show you how to do that. Just in case it doesn't notice that you logged in, we can actually add it ourselves, so we can click the little plus icon in the top right of the extension window. Now it's a typed login. The domain name is mail.google.com. The username is googispoop@gmail.com. Password is I really hate Google. Now you'll notice here it has authenticator key, one-time password. We're going to get to that later. It has the ability to have multiple URLs, which is helpful because, you know, you might log into mail.google.com, you might log into drive.google.com, and you can have all of those here so it knows that the same username and password works for all of those. You can put it in a folder if you want. You can check it as a favorite if you want. This is really handy. There's a notes field in each item in your vault where you can add notes to remind you what it is or what you've done on the website in the past, and you can search your databases on those notes. So, like, let's say you create an account on some esoteric website, you need to buy something from them, and you'll never ever log into it again. And you add the password to your password manager for the website, and then in the notes you put like the name of the thing you bought from them. And then 10 years later, you're like, uh-oh, I need to buy another one of these things, but I cannot remember the name of the website that did it. You could search your database for the name of the thing you bought, and it would find the password entry, which would tell you the website. Anyway, it's useful. I use the notes all the time just to kind of notate what I'm doing on a website. And yeah, especially when I have multiple accounts on a website, I'll use the notes to, just leave little tidbits to myself to remind me for it later. Okay, so we have 2 passwords in our vault now. You can see my vault. We have our GitHub password. We have our mail.google.com password. Pretty awesome. Now, let's move over to the phone. And it's just as easy over here. So we're going to open the Play Store. This is a brand new device, so it's probably going to make me go through some crap. It didn't. I appreciate that. Okay. So now we're going to search the Play Store for BitWarden. We just click the search button. We type in BitWarden, and we see BitWarden Password Manager. Easy peasy. We're going to click install. I'm sure everybody has installed apps on their phone before. Review your account and continue installing apps on Google Play. Okay, this is something because I'm using like this is a new Google account. Complete account setup. Add a payment option to complete your account. You won't be charged. No, skip. Go away, Google. God, I really hate Google. You know, I had to give them my phone number just to have this virtual phone. Oh, man. Terrible company. Okay, so it has installed the BitWarden Password Manager to the phone, and we can click, we can hit our home button to go back to here, and now we see the BitWarden icon has been added, just like any other app on our phone. I'm going to move it here to our home screen. And if we open our, let's see, if we open our, I guess we drag up on this one, we can see BitWarden in our apps list, just like any other app. So we're going to open the BitWarden app, and we're going to do our login thing. Login. This is so easy. It's the exact same. Goog is poop@gmail.com. Master password. Master password is boy howdy. Google is the worst company in the world. We click login. Nose is running off my face, excuse me. And that's it. We've logged into our vault on our phone, and the same thing happened. When we logged in, the BitWarden servers sent our phone the encrypted version of the file. Our phone used our master password to decrypt the password file to get access to all the passwords in your vault. And just like we can on the browser extension, we can see our vault here. We can see that we have 2 items. We have GitHub and Google. It's all right there. Done. That's really the end of the tutorial. Like Google's being creepy. Yeah, Google, you're being creepy. Stop it. Okay. So now let's log into GitHub, for example. So I'm going to open the browser on my phone. Google wants me to accept things. Sign into Chrome. Just leave me alone, Google. Thank you. I don't have Brave on the phone, but I should. You can use the Brave browser on your phone as well. All right, so we're going to go to GitHub. There we go. We're going to sign into GitHub. It's going to run a little slow because this is a fake phone. It's emulated. My computer's having to pretend it's a phone. Okay, now we have our username and password. Because this is a browser, you might have to actually get BitWarden to help you copy-paste the file. Worst case scenario, you open the BitWarden app, you click on github.com, and then you can click on the little copy button here, and then you can switch over to the web browser, and you can paste it in just like you do any other time. We're going to switch back, just like we've done a million times, and we just click this little copy button right here, and we bounce back over. And we can paste the password in. We don't even need to know what the password was. We don't care. We can sign in. Again, Chrome in the phone is still asking to save our passwords. No, browser, we don't want you to save our password. We want you to leave us alone. And so now we're signed into GitHub. And we've never even typed in the password on this device before because our password manager synced it over for us. So that's the browser. The other thing you might do is you can have apps, obviously, that require logins that aren't in the browser. And sometimes Bitwarden will detect that you're logging in and will automatically type your passwords in for you inside the apps. Again, that's super handy. Worst case scenario, you open the Bitwarden app and you copy paste your username and password over and you log into the app that way. That is the worst of it, guys. You are now an almost level 1 grown-up in the password management space. You have almost gotten your participation trophy. I would normally say, okay, look, if this is all you do, is keep all your passwords in a password manager, and you don't proceed on to the two-factor stuff that we're going to talk about later, I cannot bring myself to say that's enough, you're okay, but you are at least caught up to 2015 on your security. Let's put it that way. Like, good job. Okay, so that's it. I mean, if you need to stop there, here is your exit ramp. Please don't stop here because two-factor isn't that much more difficult, and it really adds a lot of security to the setup, especially if you buy, a YubiKey, and Bitwarden integrates with YubiKeys once you sign up for the $10 a year account. And the other app that we're going to do called KeyPass also integrates with the YubiKey two-factor device. So please stick around. Your privacy and security really deserve the extra attention. Yeah, okay. So I've thought about it for a while. I think this is a good place to end. So I've taught you about the problems with passwords. I've taught you about... I'm sick. My brain is blank. I've taught you about threat modeling. I've taught you about what you need to do in terms of your passwords, at least to get to the participation trophy. I've taught you about Bitwarden, how to create a Bitwarden account, how to install the Bitwarden browser extension, how to log in with your master password, how to log into a website and have the Bitwarden browser extension memorize the password for you, or to add a password to your vault manually. I've taught you how to install the Bitwarden app on your phone, how to use it to copy paste your passwords. So I think that's a good place to end this video number 2. Next video, we're going to run through the exact same process, but with a different password manager called KeyPass. And I'm going to save the introductory summary on KeyPass for that video because it has some differences. It needs you to, it's free because there's no company that asks you for money, but it also is, it doesn't do the syncing. There's no company with servers doing the syncing part for you like Bitwarden. You have to do your own syncing of your passwords, which gives you more control, gives you more privacy, gives you more responsibility. Not too bad. It's not hard though. Don't worry about it. So watch video number 3 to see how not terribly difficult KeyPass actually is. And then video number 4 will sort of wrap it all together with two-factor authentication. And I will show you how to use two-factor with both Bitwarden and KeyPass. It's very close, very similar. I might have some difficulties showing how to use the YubiKeys with these virtual computers that I'm using here, but nope, I realized I missed something. In the settings on the mobile device in Bitwarden, there's some important things that you need to do to make it easier to use. So when you're looking at your vault on your mobile phone, you can, in the bottom right, you'll see a settings button. You'll also see a generator button, just like you had on the browser extension. Important. But you have a settings button. At the top, you have Autofill Services. This is important. This is why it didn't automatically fill in the password when I logged into GitHub in the browser. So we're going to click on that, and we're going to turn all this stuff on. So Autofill Service. The Bitwarden Autofill Service uses the Android Autofill framework to assist in filling logins, credit cards, and identity information into other apps on your device. Yeah, turn that on. Now, when you turn it on, your phone is going to be like, hey, is this okay? And you have to tell your phone which autofill service you want. You don't want Google's. For obvious reasons, we're going to pick Bitwarden. And then Google's going to say, make sure you trust this app. Bitwarden uses what's on your screen to determine what can be autofilled. Yep, just like on the browser, it needs to do that. So you're going to click OK. Done. Next, use accessibility. Required to use the autofill quick action tile or to augment the autofill service by using draw over if enabled. If this is here for your phone, turn it on. Not all phones support this. You can try it, and if it doesn't work, nothing is going to break. Don't have to be worried. So when we clicked on it, again, our phone popped up and it's saying, what service do you want to use for this accessibility feature? Well, we're going to click Bitwarden. And we're going to turn on the Use Service button in the top right. And it's going to be like, Bitwarden needs to observe your actions and retrieve window content. Yeah, that's fine. Click OK. All right, and now we're going to hit back on our phone to go back again. Now we're back to this. Use Draw Over. If enabled, accessibility will show a pop-up to augment the autofill service for older apps that don't support the Android autofill framework. Yeah, turn that on too. Now we're back to the Android operating system asking if it's okay. We're going to click the little yes button where it says allow display over other apps. On. There we go. And now we're going to hit back. That was important, and I forgot to tell you earlier. That will make using the app easier. I don't think I need to go through logging into the website again. We have a few other options in here. You can see under the Manage section, we have Sync. And we can look at Sync, and we can say, syncing Vault with pull-down gesture. We can actually trigger a Vault sync whenever. So if we update a password and we want it to update immediately, let's say we've logged in somewhere on our phone and we're also sitting at our computer and we just updated a password in our Vault on our phone and we want to be on our computer and also log into a website. Well, the sync doesn't happen in real time. It happens every few minutes or whatever. So if you need it to happen right now, you just go into settings and click sync and you can manually trigger the Sync Vault Now button. And then once it's synced, it'll be available in your browser as well. Vault Timeout and Vault Timeout Action is the same thing for the browser extension, but a little bit more important on your phone because, you know, if your phone gets taken from you, let's say, or stolen or forgotten or whatever, you don't want your entire database of passwords and credit cards and confidential information to be easily accessible from your phone. So unless you forget to if you forget to lock your vault, which you can do manually with the Lock Now button, just like you can on the extension, you can set a timeout. So after 15 minutes, it's going to lock the vault with a PIN code. Again, I would suggest you don't use a PIN code. I would suggest you change the Vault Timeout action to log out. And yes. And come on, there we go. And you can set your Vault timeout to whatever works for you, 15 minutes. 15 minutes is about good. That allows you to maybe log into a couple things. You know, maybe you could set that shorter to 5 minutes or something like that. It's a little bit more of a pain in the ass to type in your master password on your phone because you're using your phone's keyboard or whatever. But this is one of the this is probably the biggest pain point with upgrading your password management to a password manager is entering your master password. Now, if you change the Vault Timeout action to lock and it asks you to log in with a PIN code, this is just going to be like basically you need to remember a separate master passcode. And it might be easier because it's a PIN on your phone, but the problem is that people will come in here and they'll enter like an 8-digit PIN or God forbid like a 4-digit PIN. You've just put all of your treasures in a chest and then locked the chest with a zip tie, a twisty tie. Like the same kind of tie you'd put on a loaf of bread. A 4-digit PIN can be cracked. You can try every 4-digit combination with a computer in like less than a second with modern technology. You might as well not even have one. On my phone, because I take this stuff seriously, I don't use the PIN because even if you use the longest PIN that it allows, I mean, are you going to be able to remember a 100-number PIN? Probably not. And you don't even have the option with the PIN to use words. So even if you wanted to use a different, anyway. If you can handle it, use logout. That way, when you need your passwords, you just enter your master password again. And that's kind of the only bullet you really have to bite is that master password. That's what you have to enter. And again, we have 2-step login stuff that we will talk about later. Fingerprint. We're not using biometrics on our phone, even though that's like seductively it draws to you because it's just so simple to like tap the back of your phone or whatever. to log into whatever with your fingerprint, but again, that can be subpoenaed, and you're just giving away a big part of the purpose of your privacy. Excuse me. Yeah, so I think we'll leave this video there. I'm sorry I forgot that earlier. Until next time.